welcome back to the Distressed Princess. Today is episode 9 of the Halloween crafting series. The projects in today's video are statement pieces for sure. If you're wanting to go all out for Halloween, you should definitely give these a try. They're all inexpensive and I'll show you how. The first thing we'll work on is the Halloween chandelier. You will need a hula hoop, and you can get those at the Dollar Tree. These small bowls come in a pack of 4 from the Dollar Tree. A set of 4 LED remote control candles. I got mine at Michael's on sale for $12. 4 plastic chains from the Dollar Tree. 1 shower curtain ring. I didn't have just one, so I had to buy the whole pack. If you can find a black one, that would be perfect. And 1 wispy grapevine. I'm using this wreath that I got on clearance at the Dollar General store for just a couple bucks. So those are the main ingredients for this project. We'll be using some other things along the way. I'll show you what they are later. And so we're ready for the first step. You'll need to take all your tags and labels off of your hula hoop. And this part is optional, I guess, but I wanted to remove whatever it is inside of the hula hoop that makes the little rattly noise, which I was really curious to find out what's inside of there, and I still don't really know what they are, but a whole gob of them comes pouring out. See, look at that. They're just little white, I don't know if they were pieces of plastic or they were just really strange. I wanted to make sure that the hula hoop is going to stay connected, so where the ends meet, I wrapped it up with some black duct tape. And these are the small bowls that I'm talking about that you get at the Dollar Tree, a set of 4 for just $1. You find them in the party wear section with the punch bowls and things like that, all the plastic stuff. I want to make sure these are as stuck on as they absolutely can be, so I'm using JB Weld Minute Weld, and this epoxy is great for projects where you really need stuff to stick. I get mine at Walmart, but I think you can get it at pretty much all hardware stores. It comes with 2 different kinds of adhesive that you have to squeeze out of this plunger type thing and then mix it up with a popsicle stick. And I just use that same popsicle stick to smear some on the place that I'm wanting the bowl to stick, and then put the bowl down, hold it tight for a few minutes. It says 1 minute epoxy, but really I hold it on for, I don't know, maybe 3. When all 4 bowls are stuck down pretty good with the JB Weld, I want to flip it over to the underside and then use Gorilla Glue, hot glue, to make sure that it is extra stuck around the edges. Now it's ready for painting. You could take the whole thing outside and spray paint it with black spray paint, which is what I really intended to do. However, when I went to buy my black spray paint, being that it's Halloween, there was no black spray paint in my whole town to be found. So I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm using some almost black chalk paint that I have. It's called Toasted Poppy Seed. I thought it was black when I bought it, but it's really a dark charcoal. But I'm going to use it up because I have so much of it. And this is how it's looking with 2 coats on the underside. When you flip it back over to the top side, you can see the hula hoop showing through the clear bowls, which I guess if it's going to be hanging up on the ceiling, you probably won't really see it, but I wanted it to be finished, so I went ahead and painted the inside of the bowls too. And here she is, all painted up with a couple coats of paint and dried and ready for the next step. For me, the next step is taking one of these shower curtain rings and painting it black. You, of course, can skip this step if your shower curtain ring is already black. And here's where it starts to get exciting. This is where you bring in the $4 Tree plastic chains. And if you'll look at the end of the chains, you'll see that they come apart really easy. Um, so that was perfect for slipping right around the hula hoop. So I put one chain in between each little bowl that will be holding our candles. Then at the opposite end of each chain, I'm going to use my shower curtain ring to hold them all together. Now for the decoration, I suppose you could use any kind of garland that you really like, but I wanted this to look like witchy and kind of like it's out in nature sort of. So that's why I chose to use a wispy grapevine type thing. I was lucky that I already had this wreath on hand, and so I just plucked all those yellow flowers off of it. And then there is a piece of wire that keeps the whole wreath wrapped up. So I used my wire cutters to cut that wire, and then I unwrapped it, letting all of that wispy grapevine fall free. So when you get the wreath took apart, if that's the route you're taking, like I did, there are several little sections, and so I laid out each little section around the whole hula hoop, and I was lucky that this wreath happened to be just the right amount of that wispy grapevine. And if you're thinking this looks like a huge mess, you would be correct. It was a pretty big mess to clean up afterward, but it's totally worth it. So now we're going to attach that wispy bramble branchy stuff to the hula hoop, and I'm using some black wire that came from the Dollar Tree. I secured one end by twisting it up like a bread tie, and then I just wound the wire and added in the pieces of branchy stuff as I went along and just wound it all around the hula hoop. You could keep on embellishing as much as you like, put some spiders and bats or whatever makes you happy, but I was going for simplicity. And here are my remote control candles. I was so happy to find these, so you don't have to get up and down on a ladder to turn these candles off and on. And here it is hanging from my living room ceiling. I am so happy with this. I could just do a dance. The next thing I wanted to make was a real branch Halloween tree. And I just happened to have this black planter that I got on big time clearance at the Dollar General store. It was like 50 cents or something. It was really cheap. But I also think that a plastic cauldron would be really cute too. I scavenged in my yard to find these branches that were already dead and laying on the ground, and they're going to be perfect for my tree. So then the next thing I did was round up some floral foam, and I decided instead of hot gluing it down into the planter, I'm just going to stuff as much of it as I could in there to make it a really tight fit. And then just stick your branches right into the center of the floral foam. They seem just a little bit wobbly in that floral foam, so I used some hot glue to keep them in place. And here's how the Halloween tree is looking so far. To cover the floral foam, I just used some black creepy cloth. For the ornaments, you can definitely use whatever you can find in the Halloween section. I'm sure that there's all kinds of little cutouts and felt things and whatever makes you happy, but I'm trying to go as inexpensive as possible, and I already had this black cardstock, so I just used my Cricut to cut out some designs. I did a cat, a witch, a jack-o'-lantern, and a spider web. I figured the easiest way to make them into individual ornaments with a little hanger, a little loop hanger for each one, would be to string them all up on one long piece of black thread, and then I will cut them individually and tie knots to make their little hanging loops. And the thing that makes my Halloween tree really special is this skeleton bride. She came from the Dollar Tree, and I love her. So she comes with this hanger on the top of her head. So I just used my sharp wire cutters to cut that whole plastic piece off. And I want her arms and legs to be bent. So I'm going to cut them off at the elbows and the knees so that I can reattach them in the position that I want them to be in. This part did take a little bit of patience. I put some hot glue on each part, and then I had to hold it there until the hot glue was completely dry. If you let go a second too soon, it's just gonna flop right over. And I really am sorry, Little Miss Skeleton Bride, that you had to be in such an unladylike position while I held your leg in place for so long. But here she is, sitting by the tree waiting for her skeleton groom. And this is just a really quick and easy thing you can do to set out on your coffee table. If you can find some spooky, creepy books at your local thrift store, I paid about $0.10 a piece for each one of these. But I didn't like the 2015 written on the pages, and so I thought I would jazz them up a little bit with some gold craft paint. If you hold the pages together really, really tightly, and if you're careful, you can paint the edges of these pages without them sticking together so that if you actually ever do want to read the book, you'll still be able to open it up and read it. Let's take a look back now at all our awesome Halloween DIYs. Thanks for joining me today. There's only one episode left in the Halloween crafting series. It will be next Thursday. I'm getting so excited for Halloween to come. But if you can't wait until then and you need to see some more DIYs right now, click the link I've provided for you right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.